Imagine a country where gasoline is cheaper than a bottle of water, sitting on the largest oil reserves on the entire planet. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Venezuela's hiding a treasure chest of resources that the world is desperate to get its hands on. How much wealth are we actually talking about? Let's count down the 10 massive resources that make this country a global powerhouse. Number 10. Freshwater and hydropower. To understand Venezuela, let's look at the veins of the country. Its rivers. With over 1,000 rivers and a strategic position in the intertropical convergence zone, Venezuela possesses one of the highest concentrations of freshwater on the planet. The undisputed king here is the Orinoco River, a fluvial giant with an average discharge volume of 33,000 cubic meters, making it the third largest river in the world by water flow. But this isn't just about volume, it's about kinetic potential. The country's unique topography, where the ancient Proterozoic rocks of the Guiana Shield meet steep, dramatic drops, creates a natural engine for energy. This is best seen at the Guri Dam, which harnesses the Caroni River to provide nearly 70% of the nation's electricity through massive Francis turbines. From a scientific lens, the country's water is divided into white rivers, heavy with sediment loads from the Andes, and black rivers, rich in tannins and organic acids. This chemical diversity fuels a massive biodiversity hotspot, supporting thousands of endemic species. In an era of global water scarcity, Venezuela's 1,200 cubic kilometers of renewable water resources per year aren't just an environmental asset. They're a strategic, liquid gold mine that sustains the entire South American biosphere. Number 9, the biological vault. Leaving the rivers behind, we ascend into a realm of pure green dominance. Resource number 9 is not a mineral extracted from the ground, but a living, breathing entity. The vast expanse of forests and biodiversity. Venezuela holds the prestigious title of a megadiverse country, a classification reserved for only a handful of nations that harbor the majority of Earth's species. This isn't just about the sheer number of trees. It is about complex ecosystem stratification. Roughly 54% of the national territory is carpeted in forests, ranging from the humid Amazonian basin to the cloud forests of the Andes, acting as a colossal carbon sink that plays a critical role in mitigating global anthropogenic emissions. Number 8, the solid titan. Often eclipsed by the country's more volatile assets, Venezuela's eighth wonder is a solid combustible giant. Coal. Deep within the sedimentary basins of the Zulia State lies the Guazare Basin, a geological marvel containing massive reserves of high-grade bituminous coal. Unlike lower-quality lignite found in many parts of the world, Venezuelan coal is scientifically prized for its high calorific value and remarkably low sulfur content. This is the result of millions of years of lithification, a process where ancient swamp biomass was subjected to intense tectonic pressure and heat, transforming organic matter into dense, energy-rich carbon structures. From an industrial perspective, the extraction here is a feat of engineering, primarily utilizing open-pit mining techniques to strip away the overburden and access thick, consistent seams. The coal found here is so chemically pure that it is highly sought after for both thermal power generation and metallurgical processes. Geologists estimate that the region holds billions of metric tons of proven reserves, effectively serving as a dormant battery of stored solar energy frozen in stone. While the global energy conversation evolves, the sheer thermodynamic potential locked in these black rocks remains a critical yet often overlooked pillar of Venezuela's natural inheritance. Number 7, the crystal invincible. From the darkness of carbon, we transition to its most brilliant and indestructible form, diamonds. Hidden deep within the remote Guaniamo region of the Bolivar state, Venezuela holds vast, often underestimated deposits of these precious stones. Unlike the sedimentary origins of other resources, these diamonds are the survivors of a violent geological history. They are metastable allotropes of carbon forged under crushing gigapascals of pressure in the Earth's mantle and blasted to the surface eons ago through vertical volcanic conduits known as kimberlite pipes. However, the hunt for diamonds in Venezuela is largely a story of alluvial placer deposits. Over millions of years, erosion has liberated these crystals from their host rock, washing them downstream to settle in the gravel of riverbeds. Scientifically, their supremacy lies in their rigid atomic lattice, which grants them a perfect 10 on the Mohs scale of mineral hardness. This makes the Venezuelan stones not only coveted for their high refractive index in the luxury gem market, but also strategically critical for industrial abrasive applications. These glittering fragments of the deep earth scattered across the ancient Guiana Shield represent a fortune that has survived the ravages of time, water, and weather to remain the hardest natural substance on the planet. Number 6. The red earth. Now the landscape shifts from the sparkle of diamonds to the deep rusty hues of the earth itself, bauxite. The jungle floor hides one of the largest continuous high-grade deposits of this ore on the planet. This red soil is the result of intense tropical weathering, a geological process where millions of years of rainfall have leached away soluble silica, leaving behind a concentrated residue of aluminum hydroxides known as laterites. But bauxite is merely the cocoon. To unlock the treasure within, the ore must undergo the chemical rigors of the Bayer process to extract pure alumina, which is then transformed through electrolytic reduction, the Hall-Héroult process, into metallic aluminum. This metal is the backbone of modern engineering, celebrated for its high strength-to-weight ratio, exceptional thermal conductivity, and remarkable resistance to corrosion due to its ability to form a protective oxide layer. Resource number 5 is the colossal force of hydroelectric power. While the ground yields minerals, the rivers yield pure energy. This is made possible by the unique topography of the Guiana Shield, where the Caroni River descends rapidly, creating tremendous hydraulic head, the vertical drop essential for efficient power generation. The crown jewel of the system is the Simón Bolívar hydroelectric plant, commonly known as the Guri Dam. Here, the immense gravitational potential energy stored in the reservoir is channeled through massive penstocks, converting it into high-velocity kinetic energy. This rushing water strikes the blades of gigantic Francis turbines, spinning them with terrifying force to drive the rotors within the generators. Through the principle of electromagnetic induction, mechanical motion is transformed into gigawatts of electricity. With an installed capacity exceeding 10,000 megawatts, this facility alone acts as the beating heart of the national grid, supplying nearly 70% of the country's energy demands. It is a triumph of civil engineering that turns the country's hydrological cycle into a renewable, never-ending battery. Number 4. The Ferrous Giants. We encounter a landscape where the mountains themselves seem to rust under the tropical sun. This is the domain of iron ore. In the heart of the Guiana region, specifically within the Imitaka geological province, lie some of the purest ferrous deposits on Earth. We are not talking about thin underground veins, but entire massifs like Cerro Bolívar, a geographic anomaly often described as a mountain made of steel. Geologically, these are ancient banded iron formations, remnants of the Precambrian era formed billions of years ago, when the Earth's oceans first oxygenated, causing dissolved iron to precipitate into vast alternating layers of silica and oxides. The ore found here is primarily hematite and magnetite, boasting an exceptionally high metal content that often exceeds 60%. This purity is crucial for metallurgy, as it significantly reduces the energy required for smelting and beneficiation processes. Number 3. The eternal metal. Entering the podium at number 3, we uncover the substance that fueled the fevered dreams of conquistadors. Gold. But the legendary El Dorado wasn't a city, it was the geology of the Guiana Shield itself. Specifically, the Orinoco mining arc represents one of the largest auriferous zones on the planet. Here, within ancient greenstone belts dating back to the Precambrian eon, gold was deposited by superheated hydrothermal fluids forcing their way into rock fractures to create high-grade lode deposits. Nature's erosion has also done the heavy lifting, washing this dense metal into riverbeds to form accessible placer deposits. Chemically, its allure comes from its status as a noble metal, resistant to oxidation and corrosion, combined with unparalleled ductility and electrical conductivity. However, this brilliance casts a long shadow. The extraction often relies on mercury amalgamation and cyanidation, chemical processes that separate the metal but devastate the ecosystem through toxic bioaccumulation. Just missing the top spot is a resource that cannot be seen, yet holds the power-to-power continents. Venezuela possesses the 8th largest reserves on the planet and the undisputed number 1 spot in Latin America. We are talking about over 200 trillion cubic feet of gaseous hydrocarbons, primarily composed of methane, trapped within deep stratigraphic and structural traps. While historically flared off as a byproduct, vast deposits of non-associated gas, reservoirs containing solely gas without other liquids. Extracting this resource from carbonate reservoirs miles beneath the seabed is a triumph of geophysics and seismic interpretation. Scientifically, its value extends far beyond simple burning. Number 1. The Hydrocarbon King. And finally, we reach the zenith, the geological monster that defines the nation's very existence: petroleum. Venezuela is not just an oil producer, it is the owner of the largest proven oil reserves on the planetary surface, surpassing even Saudi Arabia. This title belongs to the Orinoco Oil Belt, a territory sitting atop more than 300 billion barrels of recoverable crude. However, this is not the light, sweet oil of the Middle East. Geochemically, it is extra heavy crude and bitumen, characterized by extremely high viscosity and low API gravity, often below 10 degrees. Extracting this dense hydrocarbon matrix requires sophisticated thermal recovery methods to reduce viscosity or the injection of diluents like naphtha to make the sludge flow through pipelines. It effectively requires huge upgraders to crack the heavy molecules into lighter marketable synthetic crudes. This vast ocean of black gold represents a paradox of physics and economics. It creates immense potential energy density that is costly to refine, but massive in scale. It is the ultimate strategic commodity, a subterranean ocean worth trillions that exerts a massive geopolitical gravitational pull, making Venezuela the undisputed heavyweight champion of the global hydrocarbon arena, with more wealth buried underground than almost any other nation on Earth. One question remains: is this geological lottery a blessing or a curse?